Welcome to Networking RX, a podcast devoted to helping business professionals like you enhance your networking skills in order to become more proficient giving and receiving quality business referrals and improving the overall quality of your life and the lives of those around you. The Networking RX podcast is a production of AmSpirit Business Connections, an organization whose mission is to empower business success through networking.
For those who don't know, I do live in Columbus, Ohio. I am not from here. I've been here a long time. I should call it home. I probably never will. It's just the reality. It's nothing disparaging. I grew up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and I have fond memories of that, and I just will always probably look at that as home. This is where I live. This is where I met my wife. This is where my kids were born and grew up. But nevertheless, I came here in 1984 to go to law school, and I was that cocky young kid, the son of a college professor, and I wanted to kind of get into the business world. And I just, I didn't really understand the whole notion that you needed to reach out to other people and learn from other people. I just figured everybody figured it out. And then as time went on, I saw people, and they were just shooting by me, and they didn't work any harder than I did. They had contacts, and contacts certainly help, because contacts can lead you to contacts and opportunities. But what they really had the advantage of was just information and how to do things, like taking law school exams. I was lost. I thought I was, there was a trick to it. And it's different than college. So I just have kind of learned along the way that really a big advantage of our network are the things that we can learn from that network. Tony Robbins has the saying, success leaves clues. And it's so true. And that there are people out there that can really help us find the things that we need to find to move us along. And I was really guilty of it. I'm still guilty of it from time to time. I should have asked somebody. You get your face beat in, figuratively speaking, trying to do something, and then you talk to somebody and they have it all figured out, and they were more than willing to tell you. Why did I just spend 6 months trying to write a book or get a podcast when I could have just asked somebody? So at any rate, I have a guest on today, John D. Hansen. He's a speaker, business coach. For a long time, I think I was on his radio program, but he's got a book out there, which I think really ties into what I just said, called Winning Secrets. And, again, success leaves clues. And he's got a book that is going to help people, win at life. He's got quite a track record. And anyhow, John, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Frank. It was so cool having you as a guest. I loved having that show. When I was with my previous company, it was the guests and the things I learned in our conversations. Man, the time just flew. And I'm sure you know this as a host. When you get in these conversations, the time just flies by. So I'm grateful to be a guest on your show.
Well, no, this is, when I saw you're coming out with the book, and it'll be out in September. I think September 14th, if I'm correct.
That's the date that I've pinned, and I'm working on setting up all the logistics that go with that. But that's the date that I settled on.
Yeah, and before we hit record here, you were telling me you are looking to you have an endorsement from someone on pretty much every continent except Antarctica at this point in time.
That's right.
Yeah. So quick shout out. Actually, this episode won't be out until probably July. And you'll probably have it secured by then. But I just think that's awesome. You have quite a reach, and you have quite a story. And you have things that can help people. I think even pulling the book together has been sort of a case study in using your network. So anyhow, I'm going to let you talk a little bit, your story, and let's kind of delve into the winning secrets.
Yeah, it started with a New Year's resolution of all things. One that I actually stuck with. I was in a new business to business sales role. I'd never been in a B2B sales role before, and I was new to this company and new to this industry. And I thought, I know I've always had a strength in customer service. And any place that they measured it, I was at top of my team. So I thought, well, how do I take that strength and how do I win in sales while still being authentic to myself? I'm not that guy, Frank, that I can sell you this pen. That's not me. I'm not a born salesperson. But I did want to leverage the ability to build relationships, to solve problems, to earn trust. And that's a key, those are key elements of customer service.
Yeah.
So I got every well-rated book I could find on Amazon, at the library. And I just started reading those because my New Year's resolution was I'm going to spend less time in front of a digital screen. And before I go to bed, I'm going to spend time reading these books so that I was self-motivated, highly driven. I wanted to beat the record in my territory, and I did. But I thought I need to learn, how do I translate this skill of customer service to sales? Well, I was reading these books, one idea after another. I'm like, I did that. And I recognized that I did that. I recognized, wait a minute, I did that too. And I thought, I should put together a book that can help people that are either on the front lines as a customer service professional or the ones who manage them. So there it was. That was my resolution. I'm going to write a book. 18 months later, I do publish it through Amazon, sell copies on all of the 6 continents, not Antarctica. And I got opportunities to speak overseas. And the very first chapter of that book is a winning attitude. And I promised myself this before I started writing the first book. I said, if I encounter a word that I think could be rich in meaning, I'm not going to settle for what I think it means or what I've been told it means. I'm going to go back to the dictionary. I'm going to pull out my hardcover, bright red dictionary from my college days, and I'm going to look up all the meanings and its origin.
Right.
Well, I came across the word winning. Not too far in, it's the first chapter. I thought, yeah, but John, but I stayed true to my own commitment, and I popped open the dictionary and I looked up the word winning. Now, there were no shock. There was no surprise with the very first definition, which is excelling in competition. Well, yeah, everybody's like, duh, yeah, gold medal, blue ribbon, number one. Yeah, everybody agrees with that. Okay. But it was the second definition that when I read it, my world just stopped. I had never encountered it before. And 3 things hit me all at once. If you're using the wrong definition for winning at life, then you're automatically labeling yourself as a loser, because let's face it, even Warren Buffett is not the richest man in the world. You will never be. Usain Bolt will get eventually beaten by somebody
Yeah.
in the 100-meter dash. So coming in number 1, that can't be how you measure winning at life. You've got to have the best definition, and I discovered that in the dictionary of all places. Secondly, you've got to have the right ruler. You've got to be using your own ruler to measure yourself, not someone else's. Our perception of others' success is an illusion. What we see in their lives that we want, that's not necessarily what's most important to them. Because if you peel back the curtain, you look into their life, studies show that they're not happy with where they're at either. So you have to measure yourself with your own ruler. Where are you now compared to where you were before? And how far along are you with what you're shooting for? Do you even have something you're shooting for? And then the third thing is, you've got to use the right definition, the right ruler. And then what are you celebrating? Is it the 12th inch? Because that's what social media celebrates. That's what the whole world celebrates. You've arrived. Everybody knows your name. You're famous and successful, but hardly anyone celebrates. The people with the right mindset do, but hardly anyone celebrates those millimeters of progress, the millimeters of setbacks that are required to figure out, well, that didn't work. What does work? So that 1 millimeter after another eventually adds up to that 12th inch. And when you talk to people, and I had the privilege of interviewing highly successful business leaders across Ohio, I had to limit it to that state, Frank, because I'm like, if I interview all the highly successful people I know, the book will never get written. So I had to limit it to the state of Ohio. And again, one principle after another emerged from their life. The 12th inch is never the 12th inch and the end point. They might get to a goal that they have, but then they start over again. So if it's good to celebrate the 12th inch, but what we found was celebrating the wins along the way the progress was more important than the 12th inch. Because once you got to the 12th inch, you didn't stay there. You
Right.
started over with something else, something new. John Maxwell has a great saying that the greatest danger is today's success. What got you here won't get you there. And the ones that settle for celebrating and camping out on today's success will get left behind by the ones that are, what do I need to be doing now? What's next? And growing towards that.
No, I mean, it's so true. I mean, by the definition, and you've shared part of the book with me, by the definition that you come up with, everybody can be a winner. And I think that's a powerful thing. We are
Everybody actually is. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I think you know Renee Vidor, right?
Yes.
She wrote a book on comparisons, and she was on the show. And we are all so prone to comparisons. We're also prone to looking at how many likes, how many comments, how many whatever, all these measures, and we're benchmarking ourselves against other people. And in no case are we comparing apples to apples. We are never comparing apples to apples. We are all we can compare ourselves is to ourselves.
That's right. Our current us, our present us versus our past us.
Right.
Have we grown? Have we progressed? Are we making progress? Is our life richer? Do we have positive relationships? Yeah, all those things. I actually keep a shiny blue metal ruler on my desk as a mental reminder where I keep reminding myself, not your ruler, John. So when I see someone else's something in their life that I would like to have, it's a goal that I have, and I see them achieving that, I make sure that I squash any jealousy or envy quickly by first being genuinely happy for them, especially people I know and admire and respect and love. But then I also remind myself, John, not your ruler. That's not your ruler. You have to measure yourself with where you are at in your progress towards your goal. Maybe that thing that they have achieved was a goal they had that they had to work at for quite some time. Nobody's handed significant achievements overnight. You know this, Frank. It takes so long to achieve anything of significance. All the highly successful people I talk to, and even the famous people that get interviewed all the time, they'll tell you the same thing. The reason that I interviewed local business leaders from the state of Ohio was I thought, yeah, I could pull inspirational quotes from famous people that everybody knows, but that's not relatable. I don't know those people. I haven't talked to them. But I sat down and I talked face to face with every single one of these people in this book that's interwoven through the 7 chapters because I wanted it to be relatable. These are what I would call everyday people that have achieved phenomenal things. And that potential, I believe, is there for others too.
Yeah. You know, I had an encounter this couple months ago, maybe longer at this point, just with somebody that I know who has had a very successful corporate career. And that's not an easy thing to do. There's a lot of hard work. There's a lot of politics. There's a lot of whatever in the corporate world. But they had kind of, they'd stayed the course, and were able to be relatively successful. And what was interesting is the interesting comment that they made to me was, man, Frank, I would have loved to have had your life. And it's like, who, me? Well, my life, you had, by every, nobody's putting me in Inc. magazine. Nobody, I mean, it's not that they were either, but you know what I mean? They were in my mind would have been closer to it than I would have been. But I think that just really underscores the whole notion of your book is that it's easy to look around. It's always easy to see somebody who's got a better house, a better yard.
Yes.
Wow, that would be a great job. My daughter works for a professional soccer team. It's great. It sounds great, and it is a good job. She likes it. But you know what? Everybody has rot in their life. Everybody has bad things in their life.
Yes.
And we just tend to look at here, I'd love to be a realtor. They put a sign in the yard and they make thousands of dollars on the sale of a house. And it's like, yeah, get to know a realtor. It's not easy,
No.
a lot of deals fall apart. They spend a lot of money. It goes nowhere. And then you think they make all this money and it's, there's a lot of expenses and it's divvied up.
Yep.
And
A
they're
work-life balance is not a thing with realtors. Because
right.
guess what? You're on the potential buyer's schedule, not yours.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's, at the end of the day, they're making $1.380 per hour for all their heartache. But they love what they do. And,
Yeah.
but we all have those things in our lives where it's easy to look at somebody else and say,
Yep.
whatever. So anyhow,
Yeah.
not my ruler.
It struck me. Yeah, I know. It's something I remind myself often. I need one for the car too, but I put it on my desk. I had one in the car as well. I need to return that because I think so much when I drive and I dictate often with my Bluetooth to make notes. I think that's how I have been able to write so much with a very full schedule, is that I put down things in writing verbally so then I can clean them up later. And that's a hack that I used to help write the first book. But I have so many ideas while I drive, but I also need to keep that mindset in front of me of not my ruler. Get back onto what your ruler is. It's easy to get distracted nowadays. Carrie Oberrunner has a great book I'm going back through for the second time called Unhackable. It's a great book. And I thought this would be a good time for me to read this because the last time in my life I want to get hacked is just before this launch event that's coming up in September for the book. And the message is so powerful. And I know it's life-changing because I've talked to people on every continent that are successful professionals. And you know what? I thought, oh, this is a Western thing. This is an American thing. We're so competitive, so drivey. Nope. I spoke with a very successful sales engineer making, I'm sure, at least high 5 figures, maybe 6. But he wasn't respected by his family because he didn't go into the very short list of respectable trades. And yet this young man, he was young, significantly younger than me, doing remarkably well. So in his mind, in his family's mind, he's not winning at life. But every other metric, you look at people, they would love to have the success he's having. And that's where I realized this is a human thing. This is a global thing that no matter what their culture, people are facing, they're using the wrong definition on what winning at life looks like. And so my premise is, let's start with the best definition for winning at life. And let's use your own ruler and let's celebrate the progress, not the 12th inch. And then we'll add 6 tools. It's actually 6 chapters, but it ends up being 10 tools total throughout the book on how to win more at life. That's my premise, is that most people don't realize they already are winning at life. And once I can help convince them, that's why the book is so, I put it out there again and again. I really want to drive that in so that they'll believe that what I'm saying is true. They might mentally acknowledge that could be, but I want them to believe it and own it for themselves, that they are winning at life. Now the question is, how do I win more at life so that I'm impacting others, so that I'm blessing the ones that I'm responsible for providing for, so I'm achieving my goals and dreams? And that's where I was at. This event is my goal is for it to be, it's going to be a in-person and online, so a hybrid event that I want to have massive impact, because the message is worth it. It's not about me, it's about the message. The message is life-changing if people will own it and believe it and act on it.
That's great. How can people help you? People listening, how can they help you? Obviously, buy the book.
Absolutely. Even more importantly, to get the word out. It's just going to be a book launch event that I don't think people have ever experienced before. And I'm not saying that to exaggerate. What I mean is that I intend for this to be a platform to highlight some of the people in the book that are authors. You mentioned Renee Vidor. She's in the book. Carrie Oberbrunner in the book. Chris Borja, who's producing the event. And he has a book now as well and has an excellent, effective networking model. There are people that I want to highlight. There are nonprofits that I want to fund. So in all of these resources that are brought together, there's not going to be a cost to attend. What I want to do is work through donations and businesses, and it's going to be coordinated through a 401c3 so that businesses can donate and get a write-off. And then after the costs of the event are subtracted out, Then it'll be evenly split between the nonprofits that are supporting the event. The proceeds will be evenly split between those nonprofits. So this is a way that people can help support nonprofits. And I'll be bringing out a short list once I know who's signed on, what venue we have lined up. I'll get some more details that way. But this is going to be a book launch like people have never experienced, where there are going to be multiple authors showcased. There's going to be nonprofits, Central Ohio nonprofits that they can support. So getting the word out, sharing these posts, that's a great way so that that date, September 14th, is kind of etched in people's minds. And then as more details come out, there'll be ways that they can be involved. There's going to be a Facebook group that'll be for the event itself that people can promote and share. So that's the biggest thing, is getting the word out. You know this, Frank, that lack of awareness is the biggest hurdle that anybody faces. And so for an event that has this kind of potential, getting the word out is what's going to be the biggest help right now.
Can I send people to your website, John D. Hanson, and they can get details as things develop? I think that's...
Yes, absolutely. We're actually working on a tab specifically for this event. So by the time this airs, that content will be there.
Okay.
People can get details there, and there's contact information there. I'm also easily found on Facebook, my name, John D. Hanson, and on LinkedIn as well. So there's multiple ways that people can engage. If they like Instagram, I'm there as well. I just re-engaged in my Twitter account. So there's all kinds of social media that they can find me. You Google my name, I'm easily found. You can interact on whatever platform you like the best. But especially if you're in Central Ohio and you'd like to be part of a life-changing event like you've probably never experienced with a book launch before, highly encourage you to stay tuned, stay connected, and let's be a part of something big that really changes people's lives.
All right. We got John D. Hanson, author of Winning Secrets. John, thanks for your time today.
Hey, and one quick thing, Frank. Winning Secrets, the subtitle. It took me a few months to come up with it. How a dictionary and a ruler can change your life. That's the subtitle.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks for your time, Frank.
Thanks for joining us on the Networking RX podcast. Please put what you've learned into action today and let us know if you have questions, comments, or ideas for future topics. You can email them to us at podcast@amspirit.com. That's AmSpirit.com. Finally, so you never miss an episode, be sure to subscribe to the Networking RX podcast through iTunes, Overcast, or however you receive your podcasts. Now get out and network with someone.
The Networking RX podcast is the copyright production of AmSpirit Business Connection. All rights reserved.